The Ford 1700 needs an oil change, and I've made a video about that before, so I'm not going to focus on the whole process. What I am going to focus on is a little issue that I've been noticing given the oil that I've been running, and I'm going to describe what I'm going to try different this time. We're going to see if that makes any difference. The manual for this tractor calls for running 10W30 or 10W40 diesel engine oil for year-round use. I have been running a 10W30 conventional diesel engine oil through the engine. And in doing that, what I notice is that when the machine is working hard and the engine and the oil get hot, when you idle down, the oil pressure light will come on when you idle down to a kind of a full slow idle. I have to raise the RPMs up a little bit to around 1,000 for that light to go off. I was thinking that changing to a 40 weight oil for the high temp might solve that issue. The problem is finding 10W40 diesel engine oil is very, very difficult to impossible. It's easy to find 15W40, but not 10W40. Interestingly enough, you can find 5W40 diesel engine oil that's fully synthetic. And that is the route that I'm going with this oil change. So this is what I picked up. Shell Rotella T6 SAE 5W40 full synthetic diesel engine oil. This is not the 10W40 that's required, but in the colder temperatures, the 5W should flow even better, giving even better cold starts. And the 40 should give me what I want when the engine is warm. Now, this is a big spread from 5 to 40. I'm assuming that they can do that with the full synthetic oil and the additives that are in here. This machine's never run full synthetic oil. It's 43 years old, but this oil should perform well. It's got all the specs we need. The only difference is we're running a 5W instead of a 10W. So that is the experiment here. So I'm going to change this oil, get this in the tractor, and see if it makes a difference with that oil pressure light when the engine's hot. All right, I always pre-fill my oil filters. Let's fill up the crankcase with a gallon of this 5W40, and then we'll see how she does. And I'll top it up after we get this gallon in the air, run it for a minute, and then check the oil. Now the engine was all warmed up when I pulled in here to change the oil, so should start right up, and that oil pressure light should run for a few seconds and then turn right off. Let's just see. Okay. That seems good. It's interesting. These Napa Gold filters were always white. Now it's black. Makes it harder to write the engine hours on the side so that I know when I last changed the oil. Well, we had oil pressure on startup, which means that the 5W oil is circulating through the system and lubricating fine, generating pressure when it's cold, which is what we need. The question will be, does that actually help with cold starts? I'll know that pretty soon as we still have some pretty cold weather. It's the beginning of March right now. And with respect to the 40 weight, in terms of the engine getting hot, I won't know how that's working for a while, just because in this cool weather like this engine is almost air cooled with the fan spinning all the time, blowing all that cold air right over that engine block. It tends to keep the engine pretty cool. You have to work pretty hard to get to the point where the thermostat opens, but then the oil is still pretty cool as well because that filter's off the side of the engine. The oil flows through the base out to that filter, so that oil essentially is getting cooled in that process. So this machine probably won't get up to those hard working temperatures until late spring or into the summer when I start doing some heavier PTO work. And at that point, I will know whether or not this makes a difference on idling down when that engine's nice and warm.